We are more connected than ever, yet millions of us have literally never felt more alone. I mean, have you ever been surrounded by people just scrolling through hundreds of messages, watching endless hours of content, and yet you still feel completely invisible? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into exactly why that is. Think about it. We carry entire digital communities in our pockets every single day. We can message someone across the globe in seconds. But despite living in the most hyper-connected era in human history, this really profound feeling of isolation is just skyrocketing.
So, what actually happened here? How did we end up surrounded by notifications, followers, and, these buzzing group chats that somehow completely lack any real, meaningful conversation? You see it all the time. People sitting shoulder to shoulder in a crowded room, totally silent, just staring down at their glowing screens. We're incredibly engaged online, sure, but deep down, something feels painfully missing. Actually, more people today report feeling emotionally isolated and misunderstood than any generation before us.
To really understand this disconnect, we kind of have to look backward for a second. Biologically speaking, we were designed for small tribes. We're talking real conversations, sustained eye contact, just being physically present around a fire with each other. That's how our ancestors built these deep, survival-level emotional bonds. But modern life, it's completely replaced those deeply ingrained human experiences with glowing rectangles. We've traded deep bonds for short, fragmented interactions, and this incredibly shallow digital validation. And honestly, the core problem is beautifully simple but deeply unsettling. Human beings were just never designed for endless, shallow connection. And when you live so much of your life on platforms that are literally built to only show the highlight reels, it creates this really toxic psychological trap. It's the silent comparison. Just think about your daily feed for a moment. It's perfect photos, perfect relationships, essentially a flawless existence. And here's the crazy part. Even when you logically know, in your head, that these images are heavily filtered or totally staged, your brain still reacts emotionally. It quietly tricks you into feeling like, wow, everyone else is infinitely more fulfilled than I am. And that just leaves you sitting there, feeling completely alone in your inadequacy. To really unpack this trap, we need to look at the actual biology of a like. You see, the second you get a notification, your brain instantly releases dopamine. It's this temporary chemical spike that basically mimics social approval. But here's the catch. Dopamine only creates stimulation. It doesn't give you deep emotional fulfillment. The whole illusion of digital validation gives you this really quick hit, but then it evaporates almost instantly. And where does that leave you? Right back where you started. Empty. So this creates a pretty stark reality for us. True human connection, the real stuff, comes from feeling understood, valued, and emotionally safe in the actual physical presence of another person. A little notification popping up on a piece of glass, I don't care how many times it chimes, is never going to replace the warmth of real human empathy. What we're doing is we're essentially trying to nourish a biological starvation with digital empty calories. But it's not just the screens. Beyond our devices, there's this quiet, physical shift that's isolating us. Think about how daily life used to naturally flow into community interactions, right? Running into neighbors, chatting at the store. Today, convenience just keeps us indoors. We work remotely, we stream our entertainment completely alone, we literally get our food left at our doorsteps just so we don't have to speak to another human being, and we just sit on the couch scrolling endlessly. We've managed to engineer all the friction out of our daily lives, but the tragedy is we accidentally engineered out our humanity right along with it. And the stakes here, they're literally a matter of survival. This emotional disconnection we're feeling, it isn't just a bad mood. It is silently destroying our physical bodies. Chronic loneliness drastically ramps up stress, anxiety, sleep problems, and depression. To put that into perspective for you, researchers have actually compared the long-term physical health risks of severe loneliness to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15! This isn't just a social issue anymore, it's a full-blown biological crisis. There is a quote that really hits the nail on the head. Social media often rewards appearing happy rather than being honest. And honestly, that is the most unsettling part of modern isolation. Today, loneliness is completely invisible. Think about it. Someone can post daily updates, laugh in all their videos, and look like they are absolutely thriving in life, while privately, they're just drowning in emotional exhaustion. And because everyone is constantly performing this fake happiness, we all start to believe that we are the only ones struggling. So, if you've ever found yourself just mindlessly scrolling through your feed late at night and you felt that quiet, heavy ache in your chest, you really need to know this. You are not alone. Millions of people are silently feeling that exact same emptiness at the exact same time every single day. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are simply having a completely normal human reaction to a deeply unnatural environment. You see, historically, the pain of loneliness actually served a purpose. It acted as a biological trigger. It literally pushed us to go outside, seek interaction, and find our tribe. It kept us alive. But our modern attention systems have completely hijacked that natural alarm. Now, the very second we feel bored or uncomfortable or even a little bit lonely, we instantly reach for our phones to numb it. We get to temporarily escape the discomfort, sure, but we completely bypass the actual cure. And as a result of that constant numbing, our brains are just constantly overstimulated, while our emotional selves remain completely undernourished. The psychological toll of this is profound. We literally forget how to connect on a deep level. Our conversations get shorter and shorter. Sitting in silence with someone suddenly feels terrifying, so our interactions become super performative. We're walking around mentally exhausted by all the digital noise, yet we're absolutely starving for a true connection. Section 3, Reclaiming Real Connection and Finding the Balance. Let's talk about how we actually fix this. Now, technology itself isn't the enemy here. The danger is simply the massive imbalance it creates in our lives. To course correct, we have to consciously carve out space for the kinds of authentic, messy, emotional connections that a screen just can't provide. And it starts with really small, deliberate steps. I'm talking about having an honest, real-time conversation instead of just sending curated life updates. Practicing actual emotional vulnerability. Looking someone in the eyes and listening fully, without a device sitting in your hand. Just going outside. And focusing on building a real-world community instead of just accumulating a digital audience. And as we start taking these steps, we kind of have to completely shift how we view this whole feeling in the first place. Loneliness is not a weakness. It is absolutely not proof of some sort of social failure on your part. Think of it more like a biological alarm clock. It's actually a brilliant signal from your own mind, just reminding you of your fundamental, hardwired human need to be seen and emotionally connected to others. And the hard truth is, no amount of followers is ever going to turn off that alarm. Only genuine vulnerability can do that. We might just be the most digitally connected generation in all of human history. But unless we consciously relearn how to connect deeply, millions of us are going to remain completely alone in a sea of endless noise. Because at the end of the day, being constantly connected does not mean being truly understood. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you instinctively reach for your phone just to fill a quiet, uncomfortable moment, take a second and ask yourself, are you just looking for another distraction, or are you secretly hoping to be understood? Thanks so much for watching this explainer.